Antonio. We're on the road in Texas today, too, Mark, getting outside of Wall Street, far away from Washington, to cover some of the other big stories to find out whether America is really on the road to recovery. And on our list, Mark, how NAFTA went far beyond Canada, America, and Mexico in this booming town. Mark, this, I hope, will not be our last stand. All right, we're back in here in San Antonio, Texas, in front of the Alamo. And part of the reason we're here is Texas has been one of the best states during the recession. It didn't have as much of a boom and not as much of a bust. San Antonio, in fact, ranks #2 on Forbes' list of the fastest recovering cities in America. And there's actually been even some hiring here. Well, joining us now to talk about it is Julian Castro. He is the mayor of San Antonio and in charge of, well, making this city hopefully #1 on some of those counts. So, Mayor Castro, let's start off with exactly what is different about San Antonio. I mean, I know there's obviously military here. You've got AT&T as your largest employer. What is it that you would say that San Antonio did differently or did right that other cities could copy?
Well, a couple of things. First, over the years, San Antonio's local economy has been a very diversified economy. And over the last couple of decades, it's been particularly based on 3 sectors that have done relatively well compared to others, even during this downturn. The military, by September 15, 2011, 12,000 new jobs will come to Fort Sam Houston as military medical training is consolidated there. We recently got the Cyber Command, which is the 24th Air Force.
And cybersecurity is, I mean, a huge
right.
issue for the whole country, and you are the capital of that, too, by a lot of measures.
We have a lot of private contractors that have come to do government contracting. Secondly, healthcare and biosciences has grown tremendously over the years. We have a very large healthcare sector. And education, even though folks don't necessarily think of San Antonio that way, we have the second largest of the UT campuses. UT San Antonio has about 30,000 folks and a very, very strong community college system. We're a relatively young city with a diversified local economy, and I think that's truly what stood out for San Antonio.
And is there anything that you would highlight as the president tries to create jobs across America? He talks about exports, he talks about green jobs, which, by the way, Texas is also the capital of green jobs, that you would say people should look at? I mean, do you have any specific tax policy or something that you'd say, look at this works?
Well, I do. I think first, Texas doesn't have an income tax, and I think that's been helpful. And generally, Texas
I'm
has
sure
had...
a lot of people around the country are saying, oh, let's go to Texas now. Yeah.
Texas has had generally a favorable business climate.
Yep.
For San Antonio, we have been assertive in pursuing those targeted industries that we believe will help balance our local economy and are growing, specifically healthcare, cybersecurity. Yesterday, Allstate announced that they're bringing 600 new jobs to San Antonio. So we've just seen this tremendous interest, and San Antonio really is emerging as a great Sunbelt city.
Two quick questions for you on major issues of the day. One is the push to go green, push for nuclear energy. NRG, I remember having the CEO on when they announced they're going to have the first nuclear power plants in generations. They're going to be here. But now there is apparently a huge brouhaha that we may not be getting nuclear power in San Antonio at all. As goes San Antonio, could go the nation. That would mean no nukes. Are we going to get a nuke plant?
Well, you know what's interesting is that of the 4 projects that had been identified by the federal government as possible for loan guarantees, each and every one of them has had a bit of a bump in the road. But the answer is that San Antonio, the South Texas project likely will happen.
Right.
The question is the extent of participation by CPS Energy, which is our municipal utility. And, hopefully things will work out. That has been tied up in some litigation, and I think that's coming to its conclusion. We're hoping that they can resolve it with a good business solution so that the project can continue.
All right, well, Mayor Castro, thanks so much. We appreciate your being with us. And Mark, many of Mayor Castro's supporters dub him the Hispanic Barack Obama. This is one of the most demographically mixed cities in the country. And by the way, Mark, they have a major Toyota Tundra plant. Plans for a second shift were put off for a little while, but that Toyota says it's going to go ahead and add that here. So they are also counting on that for some of the robust recovery. Back to you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mark, so let's talk about banks. We know that so many banks across the country, particularly the biggest ones, actually struggled to survive during the financial crisis. A lot of them still on life support. But in San Antonio, a little bit different, as it's turning out quite a few things are here during the financial crisis. One company here, bank, managed to turn a profit without taking any taxpayer money, and they actually compete with the likes of Citigroup and Allstate and Geico and Bank of America, any financial services company. We're talking about USAA. It's a company that specializes in providing financial services to the men and women of the armed forces, military families, but also regular Americans as well. And joining us here in San Antonio is Joe Robles, President and CEO of USAA. Good to have you with us, sir. We appreciate it. You were a military man, I know yourself, and I guess if you could start off by explaining what it is that you do. Everything. You do credit cards, you do deposits, you do mutual funds, so you compete with all of the big guys, but yet you didn't stumble and need a bailout.
That's exactly right. USA is an integrated financial services company, and we do all the major financial services areas. We do property and casualty insurance, life insurance, banking, investments, and financial planning, and we've done very well during this economic downturn. In fact, last year, 2009, was our best year ever in history financially, for sure.
And your best year ever. Now, I mean, it's one thing to say you didn't stumble like everybody else, but to say it's your best year ever, how come? Was that just because a whole lot more people wanted to give you deposits and put money in your mutual funds? And is this an issue of people trusting and giving you more assets?
I think it's a trust factor. I think that our customers, our members, we have 7.4 million of them who do business with us, really trust us because they know we're taking care of them and looking out for their best interest, not the company's best interest, but their best interest, which translates into a very solid and stable company.
One thing I think that's worth highlighting here, some of our viewers may be familiar, but others aren't. The mayor was talking about San Antonio being a diversified economy, and certainly it is, but it has real military roots. You got four of the biggest bases in the country here. I mean, this is a city, would you say, that still has real and close ties to the military?
This is Military City USA. It's had that moniker for years, and we're very proud of it because it has a high concentration of military bases. And I think that military ethic, that military background gives the city some real strength from a discipline point of view and from a diversification point of view.
A lot of people are saying that very same thing. Joe Robles, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Chief of USAA, as we said. Mark. Okay, NAFTA was supposed to revitalize business from Canada, well, really between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, and it sure did that. But it also has had a huge impact and a more global reach here in San Antonio than anyone ever thought. NBC's Janet Shamlian filed this story.
It sits on the former site of Kelly Air Force Base. But the F-15 fighters and B-1 bombers are long gone, replaced with, well, just about everything else.
In this aisle, we have all this olive oil that's imported from Italy.
The port, all 1,800 acres, has become a hub of economic activity in what otherwise has been a lackluster industrial market. More than 70 companies use the facility as a strategic waypoint for distribution for everything from paychecks to spaghetti sauce.
Port San Antonio is very unique in its location and the access to the rest of the U.S.
Beyond location, Henderson says, Port San Antonio has been smart in these tough times, offering rent reductions and other concessions to keep occupancy high.
We have air cargo capabilities, we have rail, we have trucking, and we have access to seaports. Not only in the United States, the Gulf, and in the West, but also we do business with seaports in Mexico.
NAFTA is the port's most important trading bloc, but it also works with Mexico and Central and South America.
I would estimate, close to 40,000 pallets in here, so different products in here.
And that's just from one company, Fiesta. Landlocked as it is, Port San Antonio succeeds in the most important rule of real estate: location, location, location. For CNBC, I'm Janet Shamlian.
And now the moment Mark and our viewers have been waiting for, arguably the biggest event of the year for San Antonio, is going on right now. It's called the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. It is in full swing. Live from the rodeo across town is Keith Martin, Executive Director and CEO. Keith, we really appreciate it. We've been seeing some amazing videos of people riding bulls. Let me just ask you, you've been doing this for decades. What are some of the biggest events that go on at the rodeo?
Well, of course, the rodeo, Aaron, and then we have the largest junior market livestock show in the nation, and we have a horse show, and we have an area called Family Fair, and a big carnival. And they're all about equal, but probably our largest revenue generator is the rodeo itself, held in the new AT&T Center.